welcome back to my YouTube channel, Ginika Talks. My name is Ginika and I like to talk. Thank you so much for clicking this video. If you're a returning subscriber, I appreciate your time on this channel. And besides, in my first video, somebody watched it finish and posted on his status that follow this something. Let me check my phone. If you are seeking wisdom content, follow this channel. I just said flesh and blood did not reveal this to you because you are right. You are in the spirit. So yes, on this channel we talk about edifying things to edify your spirit, soul and body. So today I'm going to be talking about my experience participating in WAEC coordination. WAEC coordination. I recently went for WAEC coordination and I experienced a whole lot which I feel I should share on this channel. So if you want to know more about WAEC coordination, the requirements, everything it entails, including how much people get paid at the end of the marking WAEC script, trust me, you will like to watch this video to the end. WAEC is an acronym that stands for West Africa Examination Council and is written in 5 African countries, namely Nigeria, Ghana, Sierra Leone, Liberia, and the Gambia. Now guess what? I've never thought about how WAEC came to be, but just because of this coordination exercise, I went on a Google search and I discovered that one outstanding mathematician named Sir George Baker Jeffrey was the one that constructed the proposal that led to the standardized examination called WAEC, written in these 5 African countries. Now, at the end of your writing of the WAEC examination, you'll be given the WASC certificate known as West Africa Senior School Certificate Examination. That is why when you see the WAEC certificate, you will see the WAEC WASC attestation results. You can see a picture of WAEC certificate on Google because I'm not going to share my own certificate. I know some of you want to know if I passed WAEC during my time. I passed. I shall use it to enter university. Right. So this WASC certificate is equivalent to the US Higher National Diploma for those that are not Nigerian university. Here in Nigeria, for us, we use this WAEC certificate in combination with our JAMB result. You must pass your JAMB, you must pass the WAEC to apply for university admission, and you'll be taken if you pass. So what is coordination? Why is coordination necessary? Now please bear in mind, WAEC coordination only occurs after the examination must have been written. So the WAEC examination for the year 2023 for May, because this examination takes place 2 times in the year, we have the May, June, and we have the November, December. So for the May, June, it just got concluded recently, and precisely 13th of July up to 15th of July, the coordination exercise kicked off. It's a 3-day exercise. Coordination is necessary, is an integral part of WAEC marking. It's an integral process that marks the beginning of the marking of WAEC scripts. For you to be coming for a WAEC coordination exercise, there are some requirements. You need to have a certification, say like the Ordinary National Diploma, OND, or even your degree. You could have bachelor's, BSc, BEd, BEng. Any degree is totally fine. All right. And now there are 3 stages of examiners that are involved in marking WAEC examination, WAEC scripts. 3 stages of examiners. We have the chief examiner, we have the team lead, and we have the invited examiner. But these 3 stages I just mentioned, or 3 categories of examiners rather, these are the ones that are being invited directly by WAEC body. In addition to these 3 major examiners, we also have the assistant examiners, better known as gate crashers. For people that are familiar with the word gate crash, I went to gate crash. So I'll also be telling you exactly what went down, my own personal experience. On that particular day, which is on the 13th of July, the day 1, when I go to the venue of the coordination exercise, please bear in mind, coordination exercise is usually held in a designated secondary school. There's a central location. So first they will categorize those in STEM, those in arts, and those in commercial. So you will have a central school that will be the one in charge of the coordination exercise. So because I am living in Ilorin, I'm currently in Ilorin, Nigeria. It was done at Sheikh Abdul Qadir College in Ilorin. On getting to the venue on the first day, we were first of all addressed generally. Here, the head of the center called everybody that came for the exercise to brief us as to why we are at the venue, why we were there. Immediately after the briefing, we were all put decentralized. We were given different classes, so you should know the subject you want to mark. And please also note, for you to mark a subject, your certificate must be in that subject. Say for example, you're interested in marking chemistry, you must have your degree in either chemistry or related course like biochemistry, yes, before you'll be allowed to mark chemistry subjects. Okay, so we all went to our different classes, those of us in chemistry. Then, so for those courses, subjects rather, that have both essay aspect and practical, they were splitted into two. So if you want to mark chemistry theory is the better word, not essay, that means you choose to go to class where they have chemistry B. So if you want to have chemistry practical, then you will have to go to the class where they have chemistry C. So there's B and C. B means theory, C means practical. Okay, so people choose the one they want based on maybe convenience or based on pay, because of course the pay is different for both classes of subject, right? Okay, so I chose to mark the theory, but of course I didn't even know then that they were judged or they were paid differently. So I chose to mark theory. I went for chemistry B. And in addition, you'll be wanting to know what happened to A. Why didn't they say chemistry A? Chemistry A means objective. It's for the objective aspect, okay? And I learned that they write it as a computerized script or something, so it shall be marked electronically. You didn't need to come to the coordination center. I hope I'm not moving too fast, because some people commented in my last video that I'm talking and my pace is fast. That's how I talk. I'm so sorry, but I know you're enjoying this video. Continue watching because it's about to get juicier. And I would like to know in the comment section, have you ever gone for WAEC coordination? Have you been marking WAEC? How long have you been marking WAEC? All right, so yes, in our class on that very day, chemistry B, the chief examiner, the number one person in this coordination exercise, already came back with the marking scheme. So prior to that, I was made to understand that every chief examiners, they converge in Lagos, discuss critically, thoroughly, properly the WAEC marking scheme for each of their subjects and decide if the marking scheme is fair enough. Now, one thing I like about WAEC is this: they are very considerate. They do not want to short mark any student, neither do they also want to be cheated. So yes, they will discover if you have written your examination with Expo or something, and at the same time be sure that the examination marking scheme is free and fair enough to accommodate everybody. Yes, so the chief examiner with the marking scheme briefs everybody in the hall. Now, in addition to the chief examiner, there's the team leader, like I already mentioned. The team leader is assist the chief examiner even while the briefing of the marking scheme goes on. And I was told that the chief examiner is actually the chief examiner and the team lead. These are people that have years of experience marking WAEC. They need a minimum of 10 years experience to be able to attain that height. And of course, WAEC automatically appoints the chief examiner and also the team leaders. However, at the discretion of the chief examiner, depending on the size of the script being marked in a particular set, he can choose to appoint more team examiners to make his work faster. Also, these invited examiner I mentioned earlier are also being invited by WAEC via SMS most time, and these people need to have years of experience as well, though not up to 10 years, to be able to be invited by WAEC to mark the scripts. All right, so yes, the chief examiner starts by explaining the questions one by one. He comes with booklets containing dummy scripts, minimum of 6 dummy scripts. The first set of people he distributes the dummy scripts to are those invited examiners that have been officially invited by WAEC via SMS to mark. So he gives everybody the dummy scripts, reads the marking scheme one by one, thoroughly explaining the keyword, because there are times that students may start writing story up and down. That one did not concern WAEC. What they are looking for is keyword. Once there's a keyword in that student's answer that justifies why the student should be marked, explains that, you know what, mark, we all write differently, okay? So he also explains how the marks are being allocated, how you will total it, because he won't be with you when you'll be at home marking your scripts. So coordination is very critical, is very important. You cannot mark WAEC if you do not attend the coordination exercise. Now, you know that the questions could be maybe up to 3, 4, 5, depending that he's treating. This is where the team leaders also assist him. He reads one, they read alternatively, depending on any style they choose. There's no one size fits all method on the method they choose to administer the explanations. Okay, so after doing that, if the booklet, after distributing the scripts, the booklets, the envelope rather containing booklets to the invited examiner, what the chief examiner now does is, if there's still more envelopes, those assistant examiners that have come to gate crash are now considered, but they are considered in an order of priority, in the sense that now some people have probably marked the WAEC for a year or two, maybe previously, but yet they do not have their information in the database of WAEC to be invited to come and mark. They can still choose to come on their own in case there are leftover booklets for them to get. Now, this does not mean if you have zero experience, you cannot come. Of course, you can come. I also went with zero experience, hoping that there will be leftover envelopes for me to also mark as well. So, in the course of discussing the marking scheme, one critical step that takes place is they make sure that after they have thoroughly explained the marking scheme, all of you that have the envelope containing the dummy script, you will mark each of the dummy scripts. Remember, I said minimum of 6 dummy scripts, 6 different dummy scripts, different student answers, for you to now see how to apply the standardized marking scheme in 6 different cases. So you cannot say, okay, what if this person writes this and that? How will I do it? So you have seen 6 different methods, 6 different scripts as sample. I know I'm emphasizing it too much, but I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. And please, this is to the students, be careful the way you write. Be very careful the way you write. Is my mic still on? Okay, I've seen. So it's very important. For example, those in chemistry, as we marked one particular script and the student wanted to write HNO3, nitric acid, HNO3, and the N looked like M. That was the dummy script, and we were told, no, this is M, this is not N. So there's a difference between HNO3 and when your N looks like M, you might be marked down. May God help us. So there was a particular question that the answer to that question was something that has to do with concentrated sulfuric acid, and unfortunately the student only wrote sulfuric acid without putting concentrated, and the key word in that marking scheme stated concentrated sulfuric acid. The student couldn't get, the script rather couldn't get even half mark, because WAEC, to be honest, WAEC is free and fair in their marking scheme, and teachers or the examiners rather were trained in the coordination exercise how to vet a student script properly and allocate properly the marks. Now, if you mistakenly overmark a student or you shortmark a student as an examiner and you are caught, you will be penalized. So it is a free and a fair system. So this marking, of course, on the day one, we couldn't finish with the 6 different dummies. It was a lot. So we continued. We did only 2, either 2 or 3 on the day one. On the day 2, we continued. You know, there will be a lot of drawback, different people and different level of understanding, arguments here and there. All these are our old parents that are already old and they want something to be, you know, it must be the way it is written. They will start arguing, and it was so stressful, it was so tiring. Parents came with their children were making noise. So yes, it's a friendly environment, accommodating environment. In case you're thinking, you're worried as a mother, for example, oh, where do I keep my baby and attend coordination exercise? You're covered. Okay, there's no strict rule. You're allowed to eat, you're allowed to talk, but please, you have to maintain decorum so that we do not lose the essence for which we are gathered, or we were gathered. We were told to maintain decorum, which we did. So life went on normally and all that. So the whole exercise of understanding the marking scheme took place 2 full days before we were given before people were given booklets on the day 3. Now you are wondering, how much does WAEC pay for this exercise. Bear in mind, I said it's stressful, it's time consuming. It started by 2 p.m. on each day, and as at 7:30 we were still there. I was even told that previous years was even longer, that they could be there up to 8, 9, 10 arguing, and before they now agree on what the marking scheme says, right? So, but this year, due to the hike in the price of fuel, people were tired and everything. They wanted to go home quick. We left 7:30 or thereabouts. So yes. So how much do you think WAEC pays? Just guess. Okay. The pay was just increased this year, as I was told. And the highest subject that is paid, that gets the highest amount of money allocated, is, I think, mathematics, with either 23 naira or 25 naira or thereabout. For chemistry, if you're marking chemistry essay, 17 naira. If you're marking chemistry, what's it called, practical, it's about 13 naira or thereabout, with some couples in the front. 17 points, 13 points. So imagine you mark maybe 250 booklet. Let's do the math. If you mark 250 booklet using 17 naira, that will give you 4,250 naira. But you get paid for coordination exercise. If you attended the 3 days coordination exercise and you're given a booklet, there's a lump sum of 6,450 naira or thereabout. So give and take, maybe at the end of the 3 days exercise, including going to your home to mark the script for like 2 weeks or thereabout. I'm not very sure how long you're given to mark the script. I didn't get script. I went to Gate Crash. So, and I have zero experience, and I didn't wait on the 3rd day. I wasn't there on the 3rd day. Let me just use that word. Just the first 2 days, yes, I was there full time. So I didn't end up getting script. But after all the stress and everything, you should be getting maybe roughly 20,000 naira. Do you think it is worth the stress and the time? Yes, but if you ask me though, attending coordination, even if you don't get booklet, it is worth every of your time. You know why? I'll tell you why. For me, it was interesting because I got to see my old schoolmates from way back. Secondary school mates, university mates, my secondary school teachers. It was so nice to reconnect with them. I was so excited. Most of them didn't even recognize me because your girl has added on a lot of weight, motherhood. Okay, so, and it also refreshed my elementary chemistry school knowledge. So let me just quickly give a breakdown of the activities of the examiners. The chief examiner is in charge of administering and explaining the marking scheme and the envelopes containing the booklets to be marked. It is until after the coordination is completed, after 3 days exercise, he will now begin distribution of the real envelopes. Please note, for the coordination exercise, it is only dummy scripts that are used. Okay, so the team lead is responsible for vetting everything that the invited examiners and the assistant examiners have marked. He or she will ensure that they marked according to the standard, because the marking guide is there already, you'll be given, and they've explained to us in the coordination exercise. So they will check after you come and submit your booklet. Have you marked based on the requirement? Have you allocated now there's a way they allocate mark. If it is a 2-digit mark, something like that, instead of writing maybe just 14, 1 and 4, you may have to write 014 over the overall total of maybe 100. This is just as an example. So the team leader has to vet that you followed due process, you followed standard, everything is correct before he now hands it over finally to the Oga Patapata chief examiner. All right, so the invited examiners and the assistant examiners, including those gate crashers that will eventually get envelopes to mark, they are responsible for the proper marking itself. So the chief examiner and the team leader, of course, will get higher pay. Their money will be higher than the other examiners, the invited and the assistant. Now, in addition, there are those that are called the checkers. The checkers are those people that will come and count the number of scripts, envelopes. In each envelopes, how many booklets were there before they are given to those that will be marking it finally. That's the invited examiners. After they have checked, when the invited examiners confirm that it's correct, okay, yes, I received and they signed, I collected this particular number, it means they must return that particular number of scripts. In case, this is very important, if you notice that a script is not, they wrote 250 in the breakdown of how many scripts are in this particular envelope they are given. count and be sure it's 250. Once you notice it's not 250, please complain. Otherwise, when you go and you come back and you start telling them, well, when you got home it wasn't 250, you will be held responsible. You will be blacklisted for marking WAEC. So you have to be very, very careful, please. So the checkers also will go ahead and count again and confirm that everything that we're giving to you, you returned them, including the marking scheme. Any other thing you find in the envelope must be completed. So to also be a checkers, I don't think this has much requirement, but what I saw in the center is that you should just write an official letter to the head of that particular center. All right, so I hope now somebody have an idea of how WAEC script is being marked. I was there for serious business and I learned a lot. So yes, it's WAEC coordination. What's the time? It definitely is. Is it worth the pay? I'll leave that for you to decide. Okay, tell me what you think in the comment section. Till I come your way my next video, please keep sharing this particular video. Watch my previous videos, like, comment, share. Tell me your thoughts, especially my talking pattern. Do you think I'm talking too fast? Should I go on a slower pace? Are you getting me? Okay, bye.